these contradictions that you point out in the book, how can we avoid those contradictions from being exploited by the imperialists and the white supremacists at the expense of both groups, so Africans, African Americans, and Indians, especially in the era of MAGA, Make America Great Again, Trumpism, and Elon Mussolini?
That's a very difficult question, particularly because of that last sentence or two that you cite. I mean, the chief executive officer of Microsoft, a multi-billion-dollar firm, perhaps trillion-dollar firm, started by Bill Gates and Paul Allen some decades ago. Satya Nadella, of course, is from South Asia. The leader of Alphabet, which has under its heading not only Google, but YouTube, for example, is a person of South Asian descent as well. And so it's not easy to talk about a Black population, which is heavily working class, which is heavily comprised of postal workers and truck drivers and automobile plant workers, going into coalition with Satya Nadella, for example, or the head of Google. Now, that's not to say that every South Asian person in the United States is a CEO of a trillion-dollar firm, but it is to say that, particularly in the United States, there's a difficulty because of the anti-Blackness that seeks to turn every immigrant who comes here against Black people as a kind of revenge for our helping to overthrow the insanely profitable slave system. And so therefore the idea is we should be punished for all time. And then there's the problems that you mentioned in these other countries, like Guyana, for example, where for decades you had Forbes Burnham, a leader of African descent, and Chetty Jagan, the leader of South Asian descent, who were oftentimes on different sides of the ideological barricades, although at one time they were united in the same ranks. The United States was able to manipulate the Burnham forces against Jagan's forces, for example. And then by the time that Jagan came to power, the Soviet Union, his major patron, was collapsing, which then helps to exacerbate tensions between South Asians and Africans in Guyana as well. And so it's not a difficult, it's a difficult question to resolve. It's a difficult problematic, but there are many difficult questions. There are many difficult problematics, but I think that we find historically that mass education is one remedy that we can pursue, some of which we're engaged in today, along with mass struggle.